recently, I have been complaining a lot about Warhammer 40k. So much so that even I am sick of myself complaining about Warhammer 40k. I have decided, and I have a bit of a motto in life anyway, which is that you should not complain about something unless you are willing to do something about it. And I have been complaining a lot, but I haven't been doing anything about it, and it's not been making me feel better. So I've decided to do something about it. And one of the things that I have been complaining about with Warhammer 40k, and have been boring myself and all of you guys with, is how I have been struggling with my faction not feeling like my faction. How the Guard has lost something fundamental to its identity. One of those, there's lots of small, it's not one big thing, it's lots of small things. And there's a bit of a joke, a sad joke, but a bit of a joke in stream the other day, where people were saying, "You're right, Mordian, you don't play Guard anymore. The Guard, Imperial Guard, doesn't exist anymore. Now you have Astra Militarum." Which, I mean, I suppose it did all sort of start around then, didn't it? But the big thing is that I still really love playing the Imperial Guard. And I still really want to play Warhammer 40k. And I still really want to just enjoy my army and my collection. So I've made a decision and I've made a purchase. It's time for one-page rules. No, fuck that. Not that I'm against one-page rules. I bought something. And I'm going to play it. This is Warhammer 40k 4th edition. And this is the edition that I probably played the most of in my childhood. And what I want to do is, I've got 4th edition and I've got 3rd edition now. I've got both rule books. 4th edition is basically 3rd edition, but with a few bits tightened up. Now, I want to make something clear. I don't think, playing 4th edition is going to become the main focus of this channel. Because the main focus of the channel is, Imperial Guard and like competitive content and all, and all that kind of good stuff. But I do think it is important to, be able to. I think for me, I want to go on a bit of a journey, and I don't just want to feast on the member berries, although there will be some member berry feasting. And I don't want to just be like farming nostalgia, whether even farming my own nostalgia or anything like that. But I kind of just want to. I want to be able to play with my Guard. Because I have many other games that I play now. I play, Bot Action, Old World. I will be getting into Conflict 47 in a very, very big way. And as much as I love all of these games and I'm very excited for these games, there's still, it's not the Guard. It's not his Imperial Guard, the Emperor's true finest. And so, whilst I want to be able to be on the cutting edge of Guard meta and all that kind of stuff, and I want to still be looking. You don't just want to be looking to the past. You want to be looking to the future. And it's interesting to see how 40k is going to change and develop over time. One thing I do want to do though is I still need to make sure that it's going to sound kind of wanky, but I still need to make sure that I'm kind of taking care of myself. Because, and this is going to sound a little bollocks, but bear with me. I used to be a corpo shill. I used to walk in the slimy, degenerate halls of corporate capitalist life. And I've got nothing against that. I'm not anti-capitalist or anything, or like a loony socialist or anything like that. You know, I'm not better dead than red, but I'm not, you know, yay capitalism. I don't really give a shit. But I used to be a bit of a corpo. And one of the things that I did, you know, I came to realize when I did my corpo life for 10 years was that I sort of hated doing a job because I felt like I had to do a job. And I wanted to, when I started doing this full time 3 years ago, I said I always had to make sure that I was doing stuff because I wanted to do it, not because it was my job to do it. That was the promise I kind of made to myself. Now, if I you know, I want to play Warhammer 40k competitively, and I think that the new editions of Warhammer 40k, like 10th edition, are very, very conducive to that. Okay, I think that they do a very good job of balancing the game, and I think that the missions of like 10th edition and stuff are really good for competitive play. I think they are. But recently, I've been wanting to play some Vibe Hammer. You know, I've been wanting to play some Vibe Hammer. And when I have tried to make 10th edition be more narrative, I have found that the system does not really lend itself to narrative play. Even something like Crusade. Alright? Even something like Crusade. It's just, you know, when Salty Simon and I have tried to do narrative battle reports, they have been fun, but they have been extremely one-sided, one way or another. And the big issue is that we as players have had to put an overwhelming, an exhausting amount of effort to try and wrestle Warhammer 40k 10th edition into being a vibe game. We have had to pull our punches quite significantly, which is fine. You know, you don't always have to be ultra cutthroat and stuff, but when you're doing it to such a degree, it's actually kind of impacting the game and your enjoyment of the game, because you're like, oh, well, I want to do this, but I can't because I feel like it goes against what we're trying to do. You know, the game doesn't reward you for doing that, and it's not conducive to doing that. So rather than trying to make 10th edition be something it's not, I'm not going to do that. And 11th edition is very much seems to be like it's going to be, you know, the rumor and the more information we're getting about this, it looks like it's going to be 10.5. You know, that may be the case, that may not be the case. But rather than trying to make 10th edition be something it's not, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to embrace 10th edition for what it is, which is the competitive game. And when, like many of us, I get that urge to test my mettle, to enter the arena of combat and, you know, try my best and do the best that I can do, I will go to Modern 40k for that, because that system rewards it, and that's what it's designed to do, and it will feel right playing the game in that way. But when I want to play some Vibe Hammer, when I want to play a game which is not competitive, when I want to be able to run an Imperial Guard infantry platoon and waves of conscripts, rather than trying to make 10th edition do that, which it won't, I'll go to some Oldhammer. There's no reason why I can't play Oldhammer and Newhammer. There's no reason why we in this community can't enjoy both games for what they are. And I think a great pitfall, and I think a great issue in the 40k community at the moment is people kind of feel like they either have to be in the new Hammer or they have to be in the old Hammer. And I think that is the wrong way of looking at it. I think new Hammer does what it does, but I think there's nothing wrong playing both. Why do you think you have to play Newhammer or abandon it and play Oldhammer when you don't feel the same way about playing Warhammer 40k and Old World? Sometimes you want to play Old World, sometimes you want to play 40k. And it's the same. My attitude here is the same with this. Sometimes I want to play Newhammer, and so I'll play Newhammer. And sometimes I want to play Oldhammer, and so I'll play Oldhammer. And as long as it's very clear on the videos, like on the thumbnails and in the video titles and everything, so people don't feel like they're being, misled, and people get what they view what they want to view and all that kind of stuff, then I don't think there would be any issue with me doing that content on this channel as well. Because one thing that I've learned over the last 3 years of doing this channel is that it is totally and utterly okay, and you won't completely butt-fuck your channel, touch wood. You won't completely ruin your algorithm adding new game systems. I think it's something that a lot of tabletop channels sort of are a bit afraid to do. Like, we must only cover Warhammer 40k because if we cover Old World, it'll ruin the algorithm. And it's like, well, okay, other channels have got other goals and other aspirations and kind of stuff. And, for some people, it's, it's a business and a job first and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, okay, sure. But for me, like, I want my channel to grow. I want my channel to do well. But I don't want my channel, I don't want it to stop being fun. Otherwise, I might as well just go back and sit in an office. I want it, that's not what, and other people might agree with that perspective and they might disagree with that perspective. But for me, I feel like ideally I want to have my cake and eat it. And when we cover Oldhammer content, it's typically going to be in battle report form. Unless there's an absolutely massive hunger for it, I doubt I'm going to do a 40k 4th edition unit review. Like I said, unless something crazy happens, I doubt I'm going to do a Warhammer 40k 4th edition unit review. But in my mind right now, where I'm kind of seeing this going, and I'd love to get some feedback from you guys on this, where I'm seeing this going is like this. I will make Warhammer 40k tactics videos, daily episodes kind of thing. And I will make Warhammer 40k competitive after-action reports for the tournaments. But for the battle reports, truth be told, I really do feel like 10th edition battle reports are very stale and boring to watch. Like, this is no shade, and I cannot express this enough, because I would hate for people to think, or for the people of this channel to think, that I don't like what they do. I have an infinite amount of respect for what they do, and I often actually look to channels like theirs and others for inspiration as a content creator. But I really feel like it is no coincidence that I have stopped watching tabletop tactics content, and other battle report producers like Striking Scorpion 82. I used to watch his stuff all the time. I used to watch tabletop tactics stuff all the time. I don't watch Warhammer 40k battle reports anymore. The battle reports that I watch were Winter's SEO Heresy 2.0 battle reports. And I loved it when Tabletop Tactics covered some Old World battle reports. And I actually find myself, there's a chap called Rogue Element Hobbies who does Old World battle reports, and I love his stuff as well. So I find that I consume Warhammer 40k 10th edition meta content, but I don't really consume Warhammer 40k 10th edition battle reports anymore. And I don't think that is because of anything that the aforementioned 40k battle report channels do. I think they put an incredible amount of time and effort and hard work. And if you haven't heard those channels and you want 40k battle reports for 10th edition, you absolutely fucking should go and watch them. Don't even think about it. Just go over, subscribe to Tabletop Tactics right now. Go over and go and check out Striking Scorpion. He does some very cool videos. Yeah, like yes. So if that's what you want, go there. But for me personally, I find myself consuming 40k meta content, 10th edition meta content, but when I watch battle reports, it tends to be Oldhammer battle reports. And I think it's because there's something in those older game formats which lends itself to naturally headier heights and terrible lows. Something that I realized with the bolt action games I've been doing recently. Bolt action is a game which very much lends itself to heady heights and terrible lows. And even though it's a completely different game system, I get a similar feeling to playing games of bolt action as I did when I played previous editions of Warhammer 40k. So yeah, that's it. So how I envision this working on the channel, is quite simple. You will get Warhammer 40k latest edition, whether that's 10th edition or 11th edition. You will get Warhammer 40k 10th edition after action reports, daily episodes, and all that good stuff. And occasionally there probably will still be 10th edition, battle reports. But between now and 11th edition, what I would like to do is to start introducing Oldhammer battle reports. So we get the meta content, because the thing is, I have a lot of terrain for Warhammer 40k, but I kind of have to crowbar my existing terrain into 10th edition, and it doesn't quite work. So my battle reports are always a bit off anyway, because I never have the proper terrain for 10th edition anyway. So I'm going to do I'm going to keep my eye in with 10th edition battle reports and stuff. But I would like to try, and this is not like this is the way it's going to be going forward. We're going to try it and see if it works, see how people respond, see what the feedback is, because I'm not GW. I don't bulldoze things down your throat. If you guys give me feedback saying you don't like it, then that's okay. So before you all immediately dislike and start unsubscribing, no. I want us all to be able to have our cake and eat it. I want those people that come here for competitive content to still be able to get the competitive content that they want, which is tactics videos and tournament after action reports. That's what you guys are here for. That's what you guys like to see. That's what I'm going to give you guys. But I want to do the battle reports to be very much focused on not competitive stuff, but fun stuff. I want my channel to become a bit more well-rounded, so it's not just cutting edge meta all the time. We have a bit of hobbying stuff, like we do the hobbying streams. We have different game systems like Old World, Conflict 47, Bolt Action, Warhammer 40k, and then part of that is having competitive stuff and having casual stuff. So that's the plan. So you'll get the for meta content. Nothing's really going to change for you guys, because when was the last time I did a 40k battle report on this channel anyway? Nothing really changed. It's going to change for you guys anyway. So you're going to get cutting edge meta Warhammer 40k after action reports, daily tactics videos, all that good stuff. And then you'll still, when there's a particular tactic I want to show off, or a particular detachment I want to show off, let's say GW releases a new detachment for the Guard, for example, of course we'll do a battle report to cover that. I don't want anyone getting the wrong end of stiff and being like, oh, you're not going to do 40k 10th edition content anymore. No. Cannot stress that enough. That's not the case. We will still be doing 10th edition stuff, absolutely. But we're going to try some Oldhammer and see how it goes. And this book cost me a tenner. And I've still got all my old Guard codexes, and I've still got a lot of the other old 4th edition codex as well. So we're going to have 40k meta content, and we're going to have Oldhammer casual content, and we're going to have tactics that you guys could enjoy on the battlefield of 10th edition. We're going to have after action reports so you guys can get a sense of what works and what doesn't on the 10th edition battlefields. But we're also going to have games that you can just put on whilst you're doing your hobbying or playing a video game or something and can enjoy. You don't have to keep following the bookkeeping throughout the battle report. You can just keep one eye on it and enjoy the vibes of the video as a couple of guys play games and have fun. That's what we're going for. So that was my big news. And let me tell you, I have been looking through this rulebook today and I'm very, very excited. 4th edition rulebooks, it's very, very interesting beast. I got the 3rd edition book first a few weeks ago. Some of you may have seen me show that off, but I realized that actually 4th edition was the one that I played more of, and I think 4th edition is just an improved version of 3rd edition, so that's why I've got the 4th. So, big thank you to Jack Grimshaw for selling me this book on eBay. So the first thing that I noticed with this book, obviously you've got beautiful artwork and everything, and I have to say I do really like the mixture of, like, you've got John Blanche artwork and then you've got the more gritty artwork. Some great classic artwork in here for sure. Some of the going through these pages again, I spent hours upon hours upon hours trawling through this book as a young Mordian. Like I said, this is not a 4th edition review. We're just, you know, having a quick look. I think, oh yeah, if you look closely enough, you can see some nipples on the Sister Battle. So if you're particularly degenerate, you know, there you go. Got your Space Marines. Look at those tiny Terminators. Those are Terminators right there, boys. Terminators on 25mm bases. So what's interesting, you have. So what's interesting is you have some artwork to get started with, and then you're straight into the rules. So unlike what a lot of Warhammer 40k books do now, where they start off with the lore and then go into the rules, this one has a little bit of artwork to wet the whistle, and then we get into the rules, and then we have the lore at the back. So it's slightly differently laid out the way we see more modern editions of 40k, which start with lore first and then rules. This very much is rules and then you have the lore. But, you know, like, if you look, I think this is kind of important to put. I don't think this is particularly different to how we see it in 40k 10th edition, though maybe. Like, that's how many that covers the rules. That covers the rules there, so it's not bad at all. I'd say, you know, we've got, is that 80 pages? There's 80 pages of rules here, which is quite, which for some people would be, it seems like quite a lot, but it's very simple the way the game plays. It's a good example of how you can have quite a long and crunchy set of rules that easy to learn, hard to master kind of thing. And then the rest of it is, you've just got, to be fair, you've got a lot of stuff at the back. Look at some of this stuff though at the back. I think it's a what is all this stuff? Oh yeah, it shows you how to recreate. I think you still have this kind of stuff in newer editions, so I don't think there's any point in, you know, going, oh, it's so much better back in the old days. I think there are some things that are better back in the old days and things that are better in the new days. There are some crazy bits in here. Earning experience points, what we would know as yeah, there you go, you've got like your campaign and all this kind of stuff. So I think this is more narrative play. Yeah, this is like a campaign. So it tells you different ways you can play. So all your Crusade stuff is basically in here. It's even got Kill Team in here. Kill Team from as far back as. Oh yeah, I remember. Oh my god, I remember. Look at that model, boys. It's a dude holding up. It's a Catachan holding up a body in front of him. The old Kill... I think this was the first edition of Kill Team in here. Wow, I forgot how good... Yeah, I forgot how... I didn't realise that Kill Team was in here. I remember looking over at this. Wow. There is some insane rules in here. Wow. Ready to serve. Look at this. They've named the different characters. You've got Dane, Buffalo, Sergeant Dutch, Doubloon, Axeman, Winter. Look at Creed, the traitorous General Routger Kane staring down from the lip of the active volcano housing his secret laboratories. Will the Kill Team reach him and bring him to justice before the rivers of lava cut them off and allow Kane to escape? But he's got a... They've converted a Creed model, so he's got a little, like, terrier on a leash. So cool. Specifically modeled boss to lead your brute or to use as human shields, like the one above, can really give you the feeling of playing the storylines. Bad guys. The sinister Kill Team of Anymore is dubbed the Night Stalkers by the terrified guardsmen they prey upon. Stalk forth from the shadows once more. Such diverse Kill Team allow the enemy considerably more brute squads than usual and a fully tooled up boss. But with scabs, wraiths, hideous flayed ones amongst the Kill Team numbers, they're going to need all the help they can get. That's cool. Oh yeah, I remember this Kroot guy. He's like a tracker. He's like sniffing the ground. Yeah, yeah. And they even like say that. Look at the boards though. Look at the boards. Beautiful. Kill Team boards. I think you still play them at 6x4, you know. Which is kind of crazy. But yeah, you have campaigns and stuff as well, and then you've obviously, they've got some crazy bits at the back of the book. Like Showcase, Heavy Metal, Golden Demon winners. So these aren't even people that work at Games Workshop. These are Golden Demon winners being showed off in the in the rulebook, which is kind of mental. Yeah. There's a lot of little bits in here which really make you very this is the foundation from which 40k still, you know, it's still very much these foundations are still in place today. 40k is very successful because of the foundations it was built upon. Look at that. Look at the boxes on the shelves there. It's kind of hard to see, but I wonder if I can show you guys. You can see, look how eye-catching those boxes are on the shelves. It's kind of cool. Yeah. There is definitely, you know, Games Workshop changed their logo, I think, was a moment where it was a sort of final evolution moment in many ways for how they've been changing as a company and how the game has been changing. Some people will like how those changes have happened, and some people will not. But yeah, there's some cool stuff in here. But a lot of this is lore, though, if you look. A lot of this is just lore. I remember that Turned picture, man. Crazy. There's just some great stuff in here. And, you know, best Space Marines, Firstborn. You'll never convince me otherwise. I think there's something, no matter how Games Workshop has tried, there's something that the Intercessors just don't bring to the table. And I think that's why increasingly we've seen them start leaning back towards Firstborn inspired elements on a lot of the models. We've seen it with the Space Wolves, and we've seen it with Sternguard and stuff. Look at these though. Look at these battlefields. Look at that terrain. Look at that terrain. That terrain is entirely functional for the games that you're playing. Sample battlefields, jungle. Imagine playing that. Good example of basic jungle terrain board featuring a mixture of jungle, tree copses, and overgrown ruins and fortifications. And you've got, look at that, for urban. Imperial architecture dominates this urban table. Each individual building is mounted on a separate base, allowing them to be rearranged to represent different parts of the city. Yeah, look how open it was. But look how few models there are. Look, there's one squad of Space Marines here, one squad of Space Marines here, a Land Raider, a Rhino, and then there's a Space Wolf Lehman Russ. Because those of you that don't know, Space Wolves used to be able to take Lehman Russ tanks. Because their Primarch's names on it, they could have them. Yeah. This one is particularly open, this one is particularly open, and this one is particularly open, and this one is particularly open. This one and this one were... These are just very basic examples here. These are more like what you would want to play on. Yeah, these are more like what you'd want to play on. These are, even by old standards, these are quite exposed. There's actually... look at that Blood Angel army. Whoa. Look at that. That's something. Try and get rid of the glare if I can, boys. I'm making it worse. There you go. Look at that Blood Angel army. Whoa. That's beautiful, that is. That is beautiful. Gorgeous. Ah, guard stuff. Look at that. Loads of guard armies. That's cool. Let's have a look. We've got Lehman Russ, Chimera, Sentinels, Basilisk, Platoon of Guardsmen, Company Command Force, and an Armoured Fist Squad. And then we've got 2 Lehman Russes here, many platoons of infantry here. And then apparently this is an Imperial Guard Assault Force down here. There is a better example of what the boards used to look like, though. Like I said, some of those were open even by OGs, even by old school standards. Some of those were kind of open. I saw some of these earlier. I'm trying to just flick through and find it. Here you go. How much terrain? It gives you an idea here, and they say, you know, this is more like it. So you can see that you always had. This is a better example of how terrain would be. You would always have some terrain in every 1/6 of the board. You know, this is, you know, you can see there's much more here than what we were looking at before, wherever that was. Look at that though, making minefields. So GW used to tell you how to make terrain. You didn't just buy terrain, you made terrain. There's a thing in here, yeah, making fortifications, building a bunker. So you will need foam board, texture paint, citadel colour paint, modern knife, metal ruler, pencil, PVA/woodworking glue. And then it gave you the outlines. You'll need to photocopy this page twice to get the correct number of templates. Look at that. That's cool, isn't it? More things you can make. And a lot of this stuff was covered in how to make war games terrain, which Games Workshop produced a book telling you, don't buy our terrain, this is how you can make it yourself. There you go. Oh my god, the L-shaped ruin! It rears its ugly head! Instant terrain. A cloth battlefield. On the other hand, lichen, cork bark are both available to buy in model stores and craft stores. Lichen view to represent scrub and bushes, whilst cork bark makes interestingly shaped rocky outcrops. Aquarium plants are also a useful addition and can be found in pet shops. All three can be reused time and time again to create different table layouts. There you go. They're just telling, you know, use some books to make hills. Very different. Very, very different. Combat Patrol. This is very different to how we know it today. Combat Patrol was not a separate game system. It was basically how to run small armies. So there's a single Combat Patrol mission here. Both players roll a d6. Player that scores higher gets to choose the deployment zone. Units deploy within 12 inches of the table edge. The player that scores the higher result now deploys 1 unit deployment zone. The player to take it in turns deploying 1 unit at a time until both forces are on the table. Roll for who gets the first turn. Highest score may choose whether to go first or second. Very nice. You can use infiltrators but not deep strikers, and victory points. Victory points in this was if you killed a unit, you got its points value. So if I kill a 60-point unit of guardsmen, I get 60 victory points. And so the idea is you're trying to kill each other. But there were some limitations on what you could bring in a combat patrol, because the idea is that it's a patrol. It's not no, so it's not a full-blown game. So you can't it's there to try and stop people from abusing things. So armies are no more than 400 points. You must have 1 troop choice. You may have 1 HQ choice, but no more than 1. You may spend the remaining points from anywhere in the codex. No model can have more than 2 wounds. No special characters. No 2+ saves. No vehicles with total armor value greater than 33. This is calculated by adding the front, side, and rear armor numbers. Only count the side once. No ordnance weapons. Games are played using the Combat Patrol mission. Combat Patrol are ideally played on 4x4. These rules do not necessarily cover every army. Some exceptions will need to be made while still remaining true to the spirit of the game. For example, Codex Imperial Guard and Armored Fist Squad is a troop choice, but you must take an infantry before you can take it. It's perfectly reasonable that a mobile unit like this would carry out patrols. So in Combat Patrol, the Armored Fist Squad can be taken on its own. Look at that. Look at that. That's so cool. Beware oddities. When you play Combat Patrol, it's important to remember that these games approach 140k in a way that was not originally intended to be approached. This means that odd stuff might crop up that you need to sort out on the fly. The best way to resolve these issues is to ask yourself the following. Is there any existing Warhammer 40k rule you can use as precedent? What is the most reasonable thing that would happen in this situation? Agree on the 2 most likely outcomes and then roll a d6. Go with solution 1, go with solution 2. When it comes to armament, you may on occasion find units with compulsory characters that break one of the above rules. If such a unit is only troop selection open to you, then simply leave out the offending character and don't pay the points for him. Or her Games Workshop, you sexist bigot. For example, a 3-wound Shaper is compulsory in a Kroot Carnivore Kindred, and Carnivores are the only troop choice open to a standalone Kroot mercenary army, which was a thing. In this case, don't count the Shaper as compulsory and go ahead and take the unit without him. Yeah, don't be a dickhead. Yeah. So yeah, these were the boards that... So you can see these boards were open even by standards that, going back to what we were talking about before. Where was it? So you can see this is what you would typically have. Big hill. Most of that section is taken up by forest, bunker with walls there, forests, walls and industrial shit here, building, ruins, and then you come over here and you can see that these are sample battlefields, but not things you should necessarily aim for. So so I'm kind of looking forward to trying this, and I'm really looking forward to trying this. I think there's some I was reading through the rules, and there's some things I never even realized when I was a kid. You can fire pistols twice in this, which is kind of crazy. But the point of this is that I want to, I feel like going back and playing some Oldhammer will help you know, reduce that need to feel like you're in the arms race of Warhammer 40k. So there's going to be times when I want to take the most filthy, disgusting, cutthroat list. I won't do that with this. I'll go and play some 10th edition and play in a tournament. And there are going to be times that I just wish I could throw down a platoon of guardsmen on the board and not feel like I am being actively punished for doing that. That's when we'll come back here. Yeah. There's some good stuff in here, I think. And I think, like I said at the beginning of the video, the beginning of this segment of the stream, I am planning on sticking with new cutthroat competitive hammer, but also not being afraid to make a battle report or two of some Oldhammer. Yeah. Look at that picture. Gorgeous, that, isn't it? That picture makes you want to collect Crimson Fists. And remember that. The guy's like Space Marine. He's got bullet holes in his shoulder pad. His rounds hanging off around him. You know, this is colleague. He's using his colleague as a bit of cover here. He's firing a bolt one-handed, like Tom Hanks style. Just like. Yeah, the Marine look. Yeah, I think the this would make me want to go and get some old tactical Marines and start building them up. Yeah. There's some great bits in here though. I could spend all stream going through this and looking at it. I think the cover's the best bit. 6+ save, 5+ save, 4+ save, 3+ save. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to trying this out. So yeah, what do we think? In summary, Oldhammer for some battle reports, new hammer for some after action reports. And we'll see how it goes. And if people like it, we'll go with it. And if people don't like it, we won't continue doing it. It's that simple. As always, I'll be led by the community. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.